Today, Chester and I want to talk about how to make learning a handstand easier, okay? Because it's really hard. You're disorientated, you're upside down, you're trying to balance on your hands when you've spent most of your time trying to balance on your feet. It's a very challenging skill. And so one thing we can do to make this skill easier is to make sure that we have all the attributes that we need in order to do a handstand. So let's start at the beginning. Let's think about what are the things that we need in order to do a handstand. And I call this our handstand checklist, right? First of all, our hands are going to need to balance, right? So we need that finger dexterity. We need to be able to control and move our fingers. The next thing we need wrist extension, okay? If you can't get your wrist into a 90-degree angle, you're not going to be able to get in the position you need for a handstand. Okay? And it's not just about that passive range of motion. You need to have strength and control in this position. Okay? So wrist mobility is probably the most important thing that you have before you start your handstand journey. The next thing we need forearm strength. Okay? If you ever look at hand balancers, they have forearms like Popeye. Okay? Your forearms are what helps you balance and control your handstand. Okay, so forearm strength is really key. The next thing that we need is adequate shoulder flexion. Okay, so if we want to get into a nice straight handstand line, we need to be able to get our arms in a position where we can get in that straight line. So it just makes sense that we need that mobility at our shoulders. But it's not just about being able to get your arms up. Okay, I can do that by lifting through my ribs, okay, by arching my lower back. I want to be able to maintain a ribs down, butt tuck position, and at the same time, get my arms into that full overhead position. Okay, so when you do your shoulder flexibility work, you want to really focus on actually working your shoulders and not compensating with other parts of your body. The next thing we need is good scapular control. Okay, so we have our shoulder joint here, the ball and socket joint, and then we have our shoulder blades that sit on our back. In order to get into the position we want for our handstand, which is full elevation, okay, you want that full push in order to have that strength and stability upside down. In order to get in this position, we need our shoulder blades to move, okay, and we need them to move with control. So if you don't have control and mobility in your shoulder blades to allow them to move freely and get in that position that they need for your strong straight handstand, then you're going to struggle to do it upside down. So really working on that scapular control, learning to move and control your shoulder blades in many different ways. Okay, this can really benefit your handstand. The next thing we look at is the position of our ribs. Okay, and I talked about this when I was talking about shoulder flexion. Okay, if our ribs lift, okay, we're not in that straight torso position. So we want to do everything that we're doing here with the ribs down. Okay, so if we think about our rib cage, okay, our ribs at the front and at the back, right, we don't want that raised. We want this ribs down position. Okay, and we get that by engaging these muscles here and pulling that down. Okay, so this can be very challenging for a lot of people, and it's something that is good to kind of start bringing awareness to, not just when you're upside down. The next thing that we want to have is torso strength, okay? And we don't just mean, that beach body six-pack, okay? Yes, we all want that, but we want that control and stability 360 degrees around your midsection, okay? So we want to be strong in all these positions so that when we're upside down, we're solid. Okay, if someone started throwing balls at us and we were in our handstand, they'd just bounce off us. Okay, we want that strong control in our torso. Right. The next thing is our position of our pelvis, and you hear a lot people talking about for your handstand posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so rotating your pelvis to tuck under. Now we don't need maximum posterior pelvic tilt in a handstand, okay? When we see that, we get in that really hollow position and it's hard to get that really straight line. But we do want a slight posterior pelvic tilt. And in order to do this and not go into that hollow position, we also need a little bit of hip extension, okay? So we want to be able to tuck our butt without our legs coming forward like this. So we want that tuck butt so we can straighten out our lower back. Flexible hamstrings are really important for your handstand, and specifically for kicking up to your handstand, okay? If it's hard for you to get your hands on the floor and have a straight leg, then every time that you kick up, you're going into a position that is challenging and uncomfortable for you. And being able to do that with control, being able to kick up with control when you have tight hamstrings is a big challenge. The final thing on my checklist is pointed toes. Now this might seem really trivial, okay? You know, like saying combed hair, okay? I want your handstand to have a nice combed ponytail, right? But it's more than about how it looks, right? Having that pointed toe and that extension and tension all the way to your feet really helps create that length and that line, okay? So if we think about our handstand as this push from our hands, okay, that push goes all the way through your body, okay? And you can imagine, you can visualize the direction of that push going straight down, okay? Because we have our ribs down, we have our butt tucked, so it's going straight through your spine, going all the way down through your legs, and then coming out through your toes, okay? And if we have floppy toes on the end, we don't get that same extension and length that the pointed toes give us. So while it might not seem like the most important thing in your handstand, pointed toes can really create that length and that tension that's going to make your handstand strong and stable and amazing. So now that you understand all those components of your handstand, you can go through the checklist, okay? Do I have that finger dexterity? Do I have that shoulder flexion? Do I have pointed toes, right? Go through that list, because if there's one of those things missing, then learning your handstand is so much harder. And if you can spend some time working on that one component or building block, right, then you're going to accelerate your progress towards your freestanding handstand. If you want to get your own downloadable checklist, plus a few exercises to help you check off those remaining boxes, then sign up below and you'll immediately get sent that handstand checklist to your mailbox.